Hello again there folks. Well, did it again didn't I? Forgot to film another intro. Really should start writing a checklist with these things, but yeah. Just up on the moors locally to me at the moment, up near Pensilva. And take a look at that view behind me. Isn't it stunning? We are going to have a cracking sunset. So I'm going to head up there in a minute and try and get that on cam as well. Because, yeah, just look at that. Honestly. Absolutely and utterly beautiful. Super stunning. But yeah, today's episode I went down Talon Bay. Sorry for a few of the previous episodes if it seems a little bit cobbled together. Still been testing out all the gear and getting used to all the underwater stuff and the equipment, but hopefully with a bit of luck that stuff's going to get better soon. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's adventure and we'll catch you in a mo. Well, that there ladies and gents is a very unusual find. Basically, just went down in there to see if there's anything. And yeah, pulled out the rock and it's got caught on the end of it. So this would be the egg sac of either something like a bullhuss or an undulate ray or a small-eyed ray, something like that. I'll get it back in the water, I won't keep it out for long. Yeah, I'll put it down there and I'll squidge it in underneath in a second. Be very careful and delicate with it. But yeah, bit of an unusual find. We've had some bad weather over the last few days. And as you can see, all this seaweed here has just been brought in, which would have been ripped up from out there and yeah, deposited over here. So yeah, bit of a different find to see, as you normally find them out there. Yeah, we'll just carefully move it back in and under there. Whether it will survive or not, I don't know on that one unfortunately, but yeah, we'll give it the best chance we can, I suppose. Hopefully it will give it a fighting chance if it's still alive in there. Well, down there ladies and gents, we have a sneaky spider crab. Only another small one. They are still around. Yeah. Not in great numbers anymore unfortunately. I'm here, Mr. Male. Yeah, tell this one was male by the bigger claw it had, and also underneath where my thumb is, the apron there has a narrow V shape, whereas the female ones have big pads. Yeah, nice little find. But as I said, this year unfortunately I found none of the big males. You want them at least twice this size, and they're the keepers you want, because I said all the meat is in the claws and the legs pretty much. But yeah, not a bad little find. Put him back and we'll continue our journey. And there you go, mister. You go back and hide under there. Off he goes. Now, we have a nice brown edible crab. Let's see if we can get this little beaut out and give you all a nice little show. There's some of this seaweed. Yeah. Doesn't look like too bad of a size. Oh, apologies there. Yeah. Fairly solid. Yeah. No softness on it at all. So yeah, I'll see if I can get this one out and give you guys a show. Don't think, though, I've got anywhere to set my camera up other than on top here. So yeah, I have to pocket down up there a sec. We'll get this crab out and I'll give you a show. Ooh, I almost went over then. Let's get this tripod set up and see what we can show you there. Alright, hopefully we're all good. And I'm in frame, probably not. Sorry for the noise, let's move you guys down a bit. Alright, there we go. Let's get Senor Crab out. Spam. Oh, that's a bit wedged. Should come out fairly easily. I say that. Probably won't. If I can get him behind him anyway. It does look like it's male.
You bite onto that, mister. Get you on with tickles, even better. There's a little bit of a rock in the way. I don't want to hurt it, just in case it's not inside. You're close though. Very close indeed. Right, you give me that claw.
Get some good leverage behind it. Got to be very careful. There we go. Gotcha. That one wasn't too bad to get out. Oh, I say got you. I haven't yet. Let go of that rock, mister. You grab hold of that. We managed to grab hold of another rock. So I'm going to bring him forward and bring him up. There we go. Ah. Right. Well, that one wasn't too bad. Nice size male. Don't think he's going to be in size though. I think he'll just be out. Yeah, it's only going to be. Oh. It's only going to be about 120 mil, somewhere around there, 130 mil. But yeah, not a bad little find. Seems to be a lot of them at the moment around this sort of size that we've come across recently. You back in there, buddy. Let's get you away. There you go. Please don't nip me as you go in, and you'll be fine. There we go. He's away to fight another day. No, you go back up in there. Otherwise the seagulls will get you. Out. Gonna go and hide down there instead now. Happy days. Well, we've got another little brown edible crab in that one. Just saw a claw sticking out. Went in there and yeah, he scurried on out. Far too small to keep, but yeah, another one nonetheless. We'll get him put back in and get him on his way. Wow. Yeah, folks, we have a little Blenny. Just literally kicked a little bit of seaweed out the way as I was heading on back in. And yeah, this guy sort of jumped on out. We'll get him back in the water in just a sec, but yeah. There he goes. Yeah, that was a bit of an unexpected little find. As I said, just literally down there. Just literally came along and puffed some of that up because I saw this bit of a dig out here, and he just sort of popped on out. But as I said, it's time to suit up. Well folks, we've made it down here, geared up and ready to go. So yeah, that's where we're going to be heading out to. It's lovely and calm at the moment, but we do have an incoming tide. So we'll see how good the viz is once we get out there. Let's see what underwater creatures we can find today. Right there folks, wow. My first thoughts when we got in the water was great, visibility looks fantastic. My second thoughts were, oh my god, what is all this seaweed doing? The recent storms had literally ripped up and scattered seaweed everywhere. It was clogging up pretty much absolutely everything. Barely any wrasse, hardly any other life I could find. Honestly, this seaweed was just everywhere. The bits that you're seeing now should have been a nice sandy bay. It was just full of loose seaweed that had been deposited there. It was a real shame, unfortunately, because it meant all the creatures were hiding. I was literally searching everywhere, high and low, going back and forth throughout the bay. Eventually I thought, you know what, I'll just go out into some deeper water, and I did manage to find a few goodies for us today, so it's not all too bad. But yeah, all this section here again is normally lovely and sandy. You can normally get dragonets and other crabs and stuff scurrying across as well. Normally there are tons of wrasse, ballan wrasse and cork-ring wrasse in amongst all the wireweed and the thongweed and things like that, but there was literally nothing today. Everything was just hiding away, which again was unfortunate, but as I mentioned formerly, we did manage to find a couple of goodies and they are coming up next. So I did manage to find a couple of goodies. Here, as I headed out a bit deeper, we have a nice female spider crab scurrying across the sand. Must have disturbed her with my fin as it sort of flipped over and she's scurried on out. But yeah, at the time I thought to myself, you know what, this spider crab might make a good bit of target practice. Still practicing my dive, still getting there, so yeah, I thought I'd dive down, pick her up and give you guys a bit of a closer look. I did also mount my cam to my mask today as well, just trying out a different angle and seeing how that fared. So, you know, please leave a comment down below if you prefer it. It did free up an additional hand. I do have a wrist strap that I'm going to be trying as well, just to give you guys a little bit of a different angle and trying out a few new things as they come as well. But yeah, too small to keep, and it's female as well, so I don't end up keeping them. So yeah, I pretty much just dropped her off and let her get on with her day. Now in this next clip you're going to have to get your eagle eyes out and see how fast you can spot it. But yeah, just caught it out the corner of my eye, this absolutely stunning greater pipefish. Fun little fact for you all there, the pipefish is actually related to the seahorse. Absolutely and utterly beautiful this pipefish was. Didn't want to keep hold of it for too long, I didn't want to stress the poor little fella out, but yeah. Also another fun fact as well is that the males, like the seahorse, they carry the eggs as well. So yeah, quickly got it back into the water and ended up releasing it. But yeah, it was a nice little find to see, at least we found something. Unfortunately, I wasn't having much luck finding a huge amount, so I decided enough was enough and it was time to go and check out a new location. Alright there ladies and gents, and we are down Talon Bay. A little bit of a ballan wrasse there, just gone under the weed. Yeah, it was a lovely little area. It's not somewhere I've explored before, but I thought I would head down to a new area. It was about 10 minutes away from where I was at Lou, so it wasn't too far. So yeah, viz was still pretty darn good. A little bit of seaweed here in the gullies. This was literally just off the beach. Decided to go for a little explore, see what there was down here and check out a few places. Yeah, there's a nice little bleed-lit anemone down there in the middle. But yeah, it was nice to see some of the wrasse and stuff were out. Some lovely big pieces of the green seaweed you can see. It's called sea lettuce. It's actually quite a nice one to have if you're making like a clam chowder or something like that to put in. Extremely good for you as well. But yeah, a little bit of suspended substrates and stuff like that. Blocking viz slightly, but yeah, overall visibility was still about sort of 4 to 6 meters in most parts, so it was happy days, not as much seaweed. So yeah, went for a little explore, decided to see what I can go and find out. A nice little snake blocks anemone there in the center of the screen. But yeah, I'm just literally moseying along, checking out a few gully areas. Has a huge sandy bay down there, so that was pretty cool. There was a nice little surprise I found later on. If you keep watching the video, you'll see what was lurking around in the sand. But yeah, most definitely, as it was a new area, I like to take my time, just check out the gully areas. That's what I'm doing here, just seeing if there was any sort of crevices, anything underneath it. Nice little cork-ring wrasse there that just swam underneath. But yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise considering how much seaweed was down low. Didn't quite manage to catch it on film, but amongst all this thongweed here that you can see, there were actually some decent sized bass, but anytime I tried to film them, unfortunately, they just literally shot away. But yeah, it was a nice one. Didn't have my spare gun with me today. Still need to go out and do that, which I hopefully will get a chance to at some point. But yeah, it was very pleasant, very lovely day. Water was dead calm still, pretty glassy. Making my way out a little bit deeper now, we're starting to run into a few more fish and some other life and things like that. I think these were little pollock from the looks of it. Couldn't quite tell at the time, it was a bit hard to see on the video as well. But yeah, lovely to see, definitely lots more species and more visible. And I just caught something out the corner of my eye here. as it sort of shot past. I wasn't quite sure if it was a bass at the time. You can see it just swam in there. I decided to have a look around, but I think it ended up being quite a big ballan wrasse. I think there was a couple of them. Yeah, there we go. Another one just there, just sort of hovering above it, staying still in the water as to not spook it. But yeah, so a couple of lovely big ballan wrasse there. And here, folks, we have a lovely, stunning example of a snake lox anemone. I just absolutely adore the colours on these. They're definitely one of my favourite things to look at. Unfortunately, the action cam doesn't really do it as much justice. Maybe one day I'll have a nice underwater camera that I can take some good macro shots for you all with. But until then, yeah, it's definitely one of my favourite things. And here, perched on top of a rock about 2 feet in water, we have a lovely spiny starfish. Alright there, folks, decided to make my way over to the other side of the bay, and as I did, came across this long lost wetsuit shoe. Yeah, sorry for the awkward camera angles there, and some of them I actually filmed with my left hand holding it on a mounted stick there, rather than having it sort of mounted on my chest or on the mask itself. But yeah, had my foraging bag with me, so decided to remove this from the ocean. Don't want things like this clogging up anything. It just looks horrible and it's not good for the environment at all. So yeah, took this one home and disposed of it properly. And literally not too far away from where I found that long lost shoe, I found this lovely little lady. Yeah, decided that I would go give some of the locals who were having a bit of a rock pool on the shore a bit of a show and tell with her. But yeah, she was definitely a feisty little thing. Decided to try and escape. They like to use their back legs to sort of latch on and try and spin themselves around. And yeah, she was not playing ball to start with, definitely not. Decided to try and escape. As you can see, she almost got the better of me there. But as I said, the crabs that are this sort of size, they don't really hurt when you've got your suit on. The only thing you've got to watch out for is they don't punch any holes through. But yeah, let her go, picked her up, and then got on with it. As I was on my way back in there, I actually decided to drop her off because I came across an even bigger female spider crab. So yeah, I thought rather than show them the small one, went down, sorry for the camera angles there, picked her up. Yeah, she was a proper sized female spider crab. She was a chunky monkey. Absolute chunky little thing. Yeah, decided to go and give the locals a quick show of her. Sorry for the blurring on the lens there, a little bit of water must have gotten stuck. But yeah, I didn't film anything when I went to the shore just because there was a lot of kids around and stuff like that. So yeah, went and showed a few of the locals before dropping her off and saying goodbye. So after dropping this lovely little lady off, I decided to head out into some deeper water. Found a lovely large compass jelly. They really are stunning, but as you can probably tell from the background, visibility decided to take a nosedive. The deeper I went out, visibility just really dropped off. But no, it's nice to see this jellyfish nonetheless. It was absolutely stunning, and one of the largest species that I've found of this type, which was lovely to see. So yeah, I did decide to have a look around. We've got a lovely big ballan wrasse in the middle there, as you can see. Lovely size on that one. But yeah, I decided to have a look around, just check out some of the reef area and see if I could find any goodies for you all. Mainly at this point, I was looking for some bass or some bigger pollock, etc. I didn't have my spear gun with me today, but I did speak to a gent that was on his way into shore earlier on in the day who had been out spear fishing, so I knew they were about in the area. It was just a case of seeing if I could find any, but unfortunately visibility wasn't the greatest. I did find, as I mentioned earlier, some bass around the thongweed and bits like that, but any time I tried to film them they just basically shot off and I couldn't get it. A few little sand eels floating around there in that nice little shoal. And when I've spoken to you guys in the past about where to find crabs and things like that, and especially with spider crabs, they love to cling on, as you'll see in just a sec there, to the underside of gully areas and stuff like that. Didn't bother this little lady, but yeah, this is exactly what I mean by where they like to hide out, especially when you're underwater. So as visibility wasn't particularly great going out any deeper, I decided to just have a sort of snorkel around the reef area within the bay. Here we have a lovely huge patch of snake lox anemones. They just were everywhere over this rock face. I've never seen so many in one area. But yeah, another compass jellyfish. I do love finding these guys. They are just so prevalent in the waters at the moment though, but still lovely to see. And yeah, here's another example of some snake locks anemones. Lovely colorations on these, and you either get them like a dull sort of grey colour or a lovely green with purple tips. It was definitely nice to see a lot of more fish species out here compared to down low. Lots of little wrasse, etc. in the gully areas, which was lovely to see still. Loo was pretty much everything was hidden away. But yeah, also found in this little gully this painted top shell, one of the biggest I've actually ever come across. Unfortunately, again, the close-up of the camera doesn't really do it any justice, but it was lovely, lovely stunning pinks on it. And another female spider crab. I didn't actually record the dive down because I forgot to turn the camera on. But yeah, I like using these as a bit of a target practice for when I'm diving, just to sort of practice going down, practice my duck dives, etc. But also to give you guys a bit of a show and tell as well. Yeah, let her go. They're absolutely fine to sort of just drop off like this. They just literally glide down. But after that lady went, I decided to head on into the sandy bay to see what we could find. Now folks, you're going to have to get your eagle eyes out for this one, see if you can spot them at all. They are so camouflaged in, but yeah, centre frame there, couple of little juvenile place. They were pretty hard to spot, I've got to admit. It took me about an hour of going back and forth across the bay before I actually found them at all. They are pretty quick as well, as you can see. Here's a slow-mo down version. They just absolutely dart out. Had a little bit of a fun time trying to dive down for them as well. Had a bit of a game of seeing how close I could get to them, but yeah. As soon as you do, you just spook them away and they just darted off and bury themselves in the sand. But it was absolutely lovely to find these. Lovely to see. And here's one of my very poor attempts, as you can see, of trying to get down to them and just how fast they are. They're pretty quick. Yeah, off it goes. Just like that. And then while I was in the bay area there, I did actually come across a small shoal of mullet. They did keep their distance, so it's pretty hard to see them, unfortunately. And again, came across another stunning compass jellyfish out in the bay there. I just love the way the light shimmers off the bell on the top of them and they pulsate. But yeah, heading back towards the shoreline now, came across this little fella in there, as you can see him. This was actually a very juvenile tom-pot blenny. You can tell it was a tom-pot blenny from the two little sort of antenna things on the top of its head. But yeah, having a little bit of a feed and a little bit of a munch. But yeah, they're normally the ones you find are a lot bigger, so to come across a juvenile that small was pretty hard to spot. Alright there folks, now I've actually only ever come across a handful of this species in my entire lifetime, that I've actually been out diving. This is a comb jelly. They are absolutely and utterly phenomenal to see, and the bioluminescent light that they emit across their comb-like fans on the side is just spectacular. Again, the action camera just doesn't do these things justice. They are so beautiful to see in the water, but you can see how small they are. They are absolutely tiny. They're only about the size of your thumb, really. But yeah, it was a lovely little spot, and I'm so pleased that I found this little fella. And yeah, as I was swimming along again, found another one. So that was the second comb jelly within the space of probably about 10 to 20 meters of each other. Yeah, again, so lovely to see, such a spectacular sight. Definitely something I love finding underwater. All the different colorations and variations that you can get from the species that are out and about there are just lovely. And that down there was a nice male spider crab. Didn't go down and get him, wasn't big enough to keep anyway, and it was a bit deep for me. I think it was about 5 meters down or something, but yeah, let him get on with his day. Alright there folks, well that is pretty much it for the dive. This was what the visibility was like. This is a lovely huge shoal of sand eels that went past. But yeah, as you can see, visibility wasn't fantastic as I went out deeper, but please do leave a comment down below. Let me know if you like these style of videos where I'm talking more, or if you prefer just more ambient music. Alright there ladies and gentlemen, well, just about made it up here. Probably look as red as a tomato right about now because it's still pretty hot. I'm rather dripping with sweat. So yeah, apologies for the red-faced tomato look if it's coming through. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I say, stay tuned. There is plenty more like it to come. And hopefully, within the next month or two, maybe a little bit of spearfishing as well, if we're lucky. But yeah, in the meantime, if I just circle around, we have got some spectacular views, if you can see that behind me. Absolutely and utterly phenomenal. It is just dead calm up here, no wind, views for days. And hopefully, as you can see in the background with the sun going down, I'll be able to get that on camera as well in a minute, and we'll see if it turns out alright. But if you've enjoyed this video, if you like the content, please make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below. As I say, I love reading every comment that everybody posts, and I always try to get back to you all. Again, if there's anywhere you'd like me in Cornwall and Devon to explore, whether it's on the coastline or maybe one of our more historical sites, pop that in the comments down below. And as I always say, from my adventure to yours, have a lovely day. See you next time.